Hey, what's up, all my positive people? Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in again to another episode of the Permanent Lifestyle Podcast. On this week's episode, I was the featured speaker on a Zoom call for the Eastside Area Business Association. The Eastside Area Business Association, also known as ASABA, is a business organization that operates in the Twin Cities area of Minnesota. And it's a business advocacy group. And they asked me to come on and speak about alternative ways that businesses can market to their potential customers and current customers during the COVID-19 crisis.
So, William, I'm turning it over to you. If I think I haven't forgotten anything. Let's talk about the new usual.
All right. Hey, how's everybody doing today? For those of you that do not know me, my name is William Schultz. I am a board member with ASABA. I am on my, I think I'm going into my third year, somewhere in there with ASABA. And I represent two different companies when it comes to ASABA. First is Rainbow International Restoration of St. Paul. We are a restoration company and construction company that's based, our offices are on the east side, right on East 7th in Floundro. And then also I have a photography and video business called Vivid Concepts Media. And that's where you see a lot of the photography and stuff. You might see me at events, taking pictures of ASABA events and stuff. So that's kind of my role that I've been serving in the ASABA organization. So for Rainbow International Restoration of St. Paul, I am the director of business development. So basically I'm a sales guy, and I also do a lot of marketing as well. So in a lot of my free time, what I do is I study the different trends in marketing and social media marketing and advertising and branding and things of that nature. And, you know, when the pandemic hit, I was listening to a lot of the different experts that I follow. And the reoccurring theme that kind of came up is when it comes to businesses, obviously one of the first things in your budget to go when we're in a time like this is advertising and marketing. That budget takes a massive hit. And I think for smaller business owners and smaller organizations, when you don't have that kind of money, you're kind of trying to figure out how are you going to, market yourself? How are you going to get in front of the people? How are people going to know that you're still around and still up and running? So today I'm just going to talk about a couple different things that you can do as a business owner and just a person in general to kind of build your brand and keep your name out there. And, honestly, when we're talking about nonprofit organizations, this goes for you guys too, because some people might not know what services you're offering. Some people, your usual channels of just, events and social chatter and just your personal network, that's changing. And we don't know how long that's going to last for. So some of these things I'm going to talk to you about today are going to be very important to kind of take heed and implement them. And before I go into it, I know for some of you, it might be a little difficult because I'm not used to social media. I'm not used to all this technology, and I understand that. But you're going to have to get used to it now because times are changing, and I don't think they're going to they're not going to go back completely to the way they are before. So we have to adapt as a community and as a business. So I want to talk about a couple platforms that are out there that are available for you as a business owner, and also to build your personal brand as well that you should be on and you can be active on. These things don't cost you money. Obviously, one of them is Facebook. We all know that, but what you may or may not know is it's almost impossible to build what's called organic reach on Facebook. And that's when you post something and it just kind of organically finds its audience. The problem is today is there's more content on Facebook than there are people. So it's harder for content to find an audience. So what Facebook is doing and what marketers are doing and what businesses are doing is they're creating what are called Facebook groups, okay? And a Facebook group is something that you can create as an organization based around a certain topic. And people that are interested in that topic can join your group. And now you are directly talking to your audience. Your group becomes your audience. So let's say, for instance, on Facebook, there's a East Side area group that has 10,000 members in it, right? that is a group where everything that's posted about, talked about, mentioned is mostly East Side based. So every time I go on my Facebook page and somebody posts in that group, I get it on my timeline. That's not necessarily the case. Now, if I'm just your friend or your family member and you post on your timeline, I don't necessarily see everything anymore because the algorithms have kind of changed that. So let's say you're a nonprofit organization and you're like, how do I reach my audience right now? Well, you can start a group based around your nonprofit organization, but don't base it around your company name. You don't want to make it a company page. What you'd want to do is make it about the area of the community that you serve. So maybe if it was homeless, you might make a group that said, that's about taking care of the homeless and resource for the homeless. Maybe it's a job placement group or a battered women's shelter type nonprofit that you're into. Make a group and start to invite your friends and people that you know in that group, and they're gonna start to invite their friends, and you start posting content out there that's relative to that group. That's a great way to build your audience for your business. If you're a restaurant, let's say you're Brunson's, for instance, and you have a great burger, maybe you start a group about burgers. Twin Cities best burgers, and you start asking everybody who has the best burger, and you kind of build your audience that way. So thinking outside the box, and that's free advertising. It takes time, but it's not going to cost you anything. The other platform I want you guys to think about, and every single person in here probably has a profile on there, and I bet you maybe 2% of you actually are active on there, and that's LinkedIn. I don't know when the last time you guys have checked into LinkedIn, but LinkedIn right now is like the wild, wild west. It is wide open, and you can have organic reach on there. I've only been active on there for about 2 months, and I've got over 2,000 followers right now. Anything I post is getting over 100 views. Anything I post is going to get about 10, 15, 20 likes. That's just being on there for 2 months, guys. That's not a lot of time, right? That's without having to make a group. That's just me posting my profile. And basically what you do on LinkedIn, it's really simple. You post things a couple times a day, maybe even once a day. And then if you see something you like it, and leave a comment, and you start making connections. I'm making connections with people all over the world. Okay, I was on the phone yesterday with a guy in Canada, and we were talking about possibly getting medical supplies like COVID testing kits and masks and gloves here into Minnesota. Okay, that's how powerful LinkedIn is. So please get on there and get your profile going. The last platform I want to talk about, some of you guys might get a kick out of this, is TikTok. Raise your hand if you've heard of TikTok. How many of you have heard of TikTok? Okay, so you guys might think to yourself, well, I don't want to go on TikTok and do silly dances and stuff like that. Well, what if you own a restaurant? What if you're telling your story about your delivery service, or your chefs cooking, or your serving staff that are coming in and trying to keep your business afloat? You don't have to post dancing and silly videos on TikTok to build an audience, okay? That's what the trend is. But you can carve out your little niche, your little piece of the pie right now on TikTok, and maybe you're only gonna get 100 followers, but those are 100 people that follow you because they like your content. You don't need to be trendy to make an impact when you're marketing. We're talking about marketing, all right? We're not talking about sales. We're talking about branding. We're not talking about sales. I would really strongly suggest some of you guys download TikTok on your app and take a look at it. If you own a restaurant, that is a great
Restaurant owners.
Yeah, it's a great app for you to be on. I want to talk about, so those are the 3 platforms that you guys should be looking into if you're a business owner. And I really strongly suggest that. I want to talk about the other thing, and that's personal brand. What you guys have to understand is your Facebook and your social media pages now are your walking advertisement, okay? And if you are a business owner, and I'm really speaking specific to business owners right now, I think you got to be careful what you're posting. You really shouldn't be posting about your political views. You shouldn't post your religious views. The only thing as a business owner you probably want to post is about your business right now, because that's the only thing that matters, the survival of your business. Because you want your friends and your family to know that your business is around, and that's your personal brand. Your personal brand is your business. I kind of look at it as once you become a business owner, you kind of are trading off your social media's personalized status, and your business kind of takes your personality. That's how I would look at it, because your business, it is your life, it's your livelihood. So just kind of be conscious of that if you're a business owner, or even if you're in sales, that, you know, you're not always just speaking to your friends and your family when you're on social media. You're also speaking to your audience and your potential next customer. And you could post something on there that could put them off. And especially when you're talking about politics and religion, those are two things you probably want to stay away from right now. And I'll just finish it up with this. Three ways that you can build a brand outside of the platform, all right? One of them is start a podcast. Some of you guys that follow me on social media know that I've recently started doing live Zoom calls every Sunday, and I record those Zoom calls, and then I will soon be making them into podcasts. When I get off of this call today, I'm going to be talking to a nurse who's on the front lines of the COVID situation in a hospital, and we're gonna have an anonymous call, and she's gonna tell her story, and I'm gonna put that on my podcast. You can create a podcast, again, similar like you do with your Facebook group, around a certain type of interest. It could be a nonprofit, it could be homeless, it could be burgers, it could be restaurants, it could just be the East Side. You need to create your own audience right now when you have their attention, okay? Right now is the time to create your audience. Maybe you're not good at speaking, maybe you're not good on the camera, and that's totally fine. But what if you're a fantastic writer? What if you're somebody that's really comfortable kind of being behind the keyboard, typing, you're good with Word, and that's how you express yourself? Well, then I think that's a great opportunity for you to start a blog, all right? People still do read blogs out there. Some people prefer reading over visual, and I think if that's your thing, you can find your audience. There's how many billions of people are in the world, how many hundreds of thousands are here in Minnesota. You can find your audience. Don't get caught up in, well, everybody doesn't like it. 50% of everything you do, people are gonna like and people are gonna hate. Focus on the people that do support you, the people that do like what you do, and that becomes your audience. The last thing I would say, for those of you that are comfortable being on camera, I would start a YouTube page, right? And you could start a YouTube page and you could simply just start sharing your story on YouTube. And again, you can tie your YouTube in to your Facebook group, because again, that's visual. And also you can do it on Instagram, because they have Instagram TV now that have long format videos. However, I digress on that. You can create your own content around your own interest in telling the story of your organization, telling the story of your business, just telling the story of you. You want to create a connection with somebody in your audience. And when people, I always say this because I'm in sales, and I always say this, people grow with who they know. Too oftentimes, I have sales guys on LinkedIn especially, they just jump in my inbox and they throw me their sales pitch. And I'm like, I don't even know you. Why would I spend $10,000, $1,000, or even $20 with you? I don't know you. Let me get a chance to know you so I can grow with you. I'll have no problem spending money with somebody I trust, I get to know, and get to grow with. So if you're a business owner, if you're working in a nonprofit organization, get out there and get in front of this camera or this camera, just hit record and tell your story. Tell your story and let your audience find you. They will find you. I'll give you one example. There's an extremely popular cooking show on YouTube. I haven't watched it, but I've heard about it on a couple podcasts I listen to. And it's basically a lady that cooks with a cat. She cooks food with her cat. And it has like 100 and some thousand subscribers. Now just think about that. How many millions of cooking shows do you think are on YouTube right now? Millions of them. But there's one with a cat. The cat doesn't do anything. It just hangs out while this person cooks. And it has 100 and some thousand subscribers. So my point being is, find your audience. There is a niche. There's a niche out there for you, for your business, for your personal brand. And you have to think outside the box, guys. You don't want to spend money on billboards and advertising. You can just do it right here from your phone, from your computer. You showing up for a Zoom call is an advertisement. So those are just a couple things I wanted to share with you guys. If you have any questions about anything, I will put my email address in here. I'm going to be doing a LinkedIn, a kind of a how to navigate on LinkedIn Zoom call probably in the next week or two. So if you want that kind of information, just shoot me an email and say, hey, I'd like to get the invite for that. But otherwise, I'll open it up for any questions that you might have.
So William, right now in the chat, Krista has put a couple things about the Saints and about the historic Mountain Theater. But I was just thinking as you were doing your presentation, so part of what Krista's put in there is, hey, seasons are postponed right now. Right now we've got an opportunity to reach out and connect via these platforms. And she's got a video link placed there about, with Facebook, as well as a link to an FAQ on the website. Events at the Mountains Theater have been canceled, except curiously, a wrestling event in June. I mean, maybe we should all do a wrestling event in June. If we could go to a wrestling event, or pretty much any event in June, I think we would go. We'll see if we can do that. Someone should mute their clanging. Yes, oh, that's good. Thanks, Patsy. And I think somebody did.
I think they did too.
Or maybe didn't. I don't know. We'll see. But the clanging has stopped, so that's good.
So any questions? If not, we can move on to the next.
Here's one, William. You mentioned to leverage different social media platforms. Do you have demographic data for the users of each platform?
Well, I don't right now. Right in front of me, I don't. But I can tell you just based on discussions and things that I study, Facebook is going to be your 40, 50 and up crowd. 35-year-old and under, they're not hanging out on Facebook anymore. People my age and our age, we've kind of hijacked that platform, and so it's not as fun for them anymore. They've gone other places. TikTok obviously is going to be your younger crowd right now, but if you're in this for the long term, you can build your brand long term. So if you hook a 16-year-old now, you have them for the next, while they're in their spending years. The other thing about TikTok is I'm on there a little bit. Since the pandemic, the demographic has changed. I'm seeing a lot more people that are older, that are, in sheltered in place. They're on TikTok. People are bored. They're looking for cheap entertainment. And then I would say like your 25 to 30-year-old group, they're still on Instagram. They're still hanging out, posting on there and checking out content there. And then again, another platform is Snapchat. And that's more the kids, the younger kids, probably 25 and under. They're still using that quite a bit to text and chat. They don't text each other like we do normally from our phone. They communicate through Snapchat.
Hey, I'm just going to say about the clanging. Darren or William, I can't actually mute Stefan, but my guess is that that's where the clanging is coming from. Hi, Stefan. Oh, perfect.
Sorry about that.
No problem. We believe in you. We're glad you're
typing
here.
Away.
I thought everything was muted and off, but I'm sorry.
Well, welcome. Hey, we're glad you're here. So William, you didn't talk about LinkedIn, which is one of the main platforms you're working on right now in terms of demographics. You want to say, how many of you are on LinkedIn? Folks got profiles on LinkedIn? Okay, so I tend to use LinkedIn as my self-updating Rolodex. I really don't use it as a social media platform at all. But the folks that are on there that are connected to me are already connected to me. So when you're talking about building an audience, are you talking about you're talking about reaching out to those folks in my Rolodex who are, already interested in me for some strange reason. You're talking about giving some content to those relationships on LinkedIn. Talk about that for just a second.
Here's what I'm saying. LinkedIn is Facebook before Facebook exploded, right? So what I'm saying is right now you need to take your flag out and stake your claim and get your piece of the pie. Because if you don't, you're not going to have a voice on there. It's going to get muted. It's basically you might not see the benefit of it today, but you will see it in 2 years, and you're going to say, "Geez, I wish I would have got more involved on LinkedIn when I had the opportunity, when it was easy to have organic reach." Because what you're going to see is, and I already see it now, I've made the switch. When I log on to Facebook, Facebook has become kind of toxic. That's kind of where we go as a society to kind of express our opinions, right? Not a lot of facts, a lot of, things that we don't like. It's not a lot of positive energy. And then when you go on LinkedIn, it's professional, it's positive, it's business oriented. and people are more inclined, you really don't see a lot about religion and politics and hatred and protests. You don't really see that on there. It's not really socially acceptable yet on that platform. Now, if you can get on that platform now and carve out your niche before all of us kind of get on there and bring our negative vibe and energy on there, which we're going to do. That's just how we are. We're human beings and we're flawed, right? But if you can get on there now, Paris, this is the time. It's like, it's the open frontier to settle and create your piece of the pie, because in a year or two, it's going to be too late.
Interesting. Okay. That's an interesting way to go. When I'm looking on the users for this call, I think about Urban Roots connected to youth. I think about Peter and the Eastside Freedom Library connected to lots of amazing stories. Janet connected to elders. Nicole connected to events and uses at the Humanities Center. It seems to me like, Rachel's on the call now, talking about workforce and the importance of employment and jobs for the future. Like, there are lots of fantastic angles that all y'all could be using in any platform, and you probably are using them in the platforms you use already. How hard is it to add something like a YouTube or a blog, or for those of you who are connected to youth, can you use the power of your youth to just populate the platform for you? I mean, you've got youth, have them make TikTok videos. I don't know, it's kind of the direction that I'm thinking about for that. But any thoughts from folks about how you make some progress if you don't have some of these things added, and which one you choose? Chime in about that.
I do see a question here from Rachel.
I see two questions actually, or a new one from Rachel. Rachel says, can you speak a bit to cross-platform posts? I'm thinking that as the exchange publishes their website, we'll use Facebook to drive traffic to our site.
Yeah, so what you can do is, one thing, Facebook obviously owns Instagram. So what I do is let me back up. There are things out there right now that are called social media management software. I have one called Hootsuite. It's HOOT Suite. And what I do is, you can go on there and you can schedule your posts. Meaning, like, so before I go to bed at night, I might have 3 or 4 things and I post them, and I can, because I have a paid account, I can have up to 10 different accounts on there. So I have like 6 different social media outlets, right? Between LinkedIn, business pages, and Instagram pages. I can post to all 6 of them at one time. I can schedule them, so I can get on my phone right now and schedule all of my social media posts for the next year if I want to, okay? So that's one way you can do it. Otherwise, you can say, yes, if you have your link, if you have an Instagram is connected to Facebook. Anything you post on Instagram, you can link to your Facebook account if it's a picture or video, okay? You can't do Word though. So think about that. If you're posting like a post on your timeline and it's just words, that's not going to be able to go between the 2 platforms. Those are the only 2 I can think of that talk. Obviously, if you post something on your website, whatever you post on your website, you can just go in and copy and paste the URL onto Facebook, and that would populate there. The other thing would be, if you record something on YouTube, you can put the YouTube link all over you can put the YouTube link on Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, with LinkedIn's algorithms don't like outside links. They don't want things detracting you from staying on their page. So the workaround from that is, if you have your LinkedIn page, you make a post and then you put the link in your comments. I hope that answers your question.
Well, that's an interesting workaround. Do you mean in Facebook you put the link in your comments?
Well, in Facebook doesn't penalize you for putting, if you just post a link to your website or to a YouTube. On conversely, LinkedIn the algorithm will reduce your reach, because they don't want you posting things that's going to have you leave their platform.
Got it. So you put that in your comments on LinkedIn. Got it.
Correct. On LinkedIn. Yep.
Okay. So William, this is great. We can still take some comments. We'll lose you, Nicole. Thanks for being on the call. Bye, Nicole. And I know we were losing Krista too at 3. So thanks, William. We could continue to talk about this, of course.